Hey everybody. Don't know how many minutes I can give you tonight. I've been putting in my notes from some of the group therapy that I've been doing, that I've been facilitating. And yeah, it's now, just before midnight. You know, I finally got to the good point where I can say, I'm at a good stopping point. I can go to bed feeling accomplished. But while I was working, I was listening to the New Hampshire primaries debate. Um, it was just something that you could just stream right off of YouTube. So I threw it up on the TV, inflicted it upon Misty, and we listened. They seemed like they were playing nice this time around. There were some highlights that popped into my mind right now, but I think the first of which is uh, that they were talking about the legalization of drugs and which candidates were for that proposition. And none of them really are going as far as, say, the Portugal model of decriminalizing everything. And when Pete Buttigieg was uh, held to what is actually on his website as far as what it says decriminalization, right? But then he's like, oh, wait. Just for possession, not for, you know, distribution and manufacture and all that other stuff. No. Just possession is something that he wants to decriminalize. And as a certified addiction counselor, I can tell you that that's not enough. It's a step in the right direction, but it's not enough because what happens is you saddle someone with felonies for whatever other drug charges that you do prosecute, and that person becomes a lifelong addict because their hope is gone. So um, I'm actually in favor of more radical approaches to the decriminalization of drugs and the focus on treatment rather than prosecution. Uh, Alan Shildroth says you can't decriminalize cannabis if you cannot grow it. Okay, well, in the Colorado Constitution, it says that you can have a certain number of plants by amendment to the actual Constitution of Colorado. That's how they decided to legalize it here. And so you can have your three adult plants and three baby plants, no matter who you are, just recreationally. But if you have a prescription, you can have more plants. That's on the medical side. Um, yeah, Paul's like, you are so late. Yeah, I was up late just putting in notes into my computer, you know, making sure that everything runs smooth for the therapy that I facilitate. Rob Jones wants to know who my favorite candidate is right now. Um, gonna have to say Bernie. You know, I don't have the hatred towards uh, Warren that other people have, but I picked Warren 3 years ago thinking that Bernie wouldn't run, and I was like, well, who's the closest person to Bernie? And so that's why I picked her. But as long as Bernie's going to stay in it and he still has his wits about him, you know, I'm not trying to be ageist or anything, but you know, we've got an aging, senile brain in the White House right now. Um, people love to bash on Warren, these days. And, you know, I think it is true that she's like Diet Bernie, but, you know, Rob says there's no perfect candidate. Yeah, they were each picking each other apart in the debates tonight. And one of the things that Biden said was that Bernie had a chance to vote for some gun control laws that he didn't. And I haven't fact checked that yet, but I was like, what? Bernie didn't vote that way? And I don't know what writers were attached to what, but I'm sure that there was some other important uh, legislation attached to whatever he could have voted against. And, you know, they muddy the waters that way. You know, all these laws should be voted on one by one, not as big giant packages so that you could give someone a gotcha later on. Um, Alan thinks that Yang would do great if people understood him. Um, yeah, and I think that some of his ideas, and especially the universal basic income idea, it's gonna probably have to happen as automation puts people out of jobs. I mean, you know, what are people gonna do when computers do everything? Oh, sorry, I don't mean to yawn at you guys. It's contagious, you know. But so there was the decriminalization of drugs talk, which it's lucky for Kamala Harris that she wasn't on that debate stage because she was like the opposite of that, you know. So yeah, and then they at one point they asked everybody what they felt about Michael Bloomberg, who also was not on the debate stage, but they felt comfortable talking about him because he's a billionaire buying ads saying that he's running for president and doesn't even have like 1% of the vote. Uh, so they all were bashing him for being a billionaire and coming in and just buying an election. But, you know, I felt it was strange that they even brought him up because he wasn't on the debate stage. You know, it's weird to talk about people when they're not there. It was a moment. Um, so I'm going to hit refresh on the Iowa results, which were at 99% earlier today, and still only at 99%. They can't get that one little bit of a percentage in, but they're giving Pete Buttigieg 13 delegates and Bernie Sanders 12 now, even though Bernie Sanders had more of the popular vote than Pete Buttigieg. It's the delegate process is a weeding out of how much do you actually want it, you know, and that's something that helps the parties sometimes, but it also helps grassroots campaigns sometimes in eking out victories that maybe they wouldn't have had if you just went by the popular vote. Um, Rob wants to know if I think Biden is finished. Well, Biden didn't have zero delegates from Iowa. They're actually saying that he's been awarded six. And so if you look at the lineup, um, Buttigieg got 13, Bernie Sanders got 12, Elizabeth Warren got 8, Biden got 6, Klobuchar got 1. And I would say no, Biden is not out of it yet. He did take a walloping in Iowa, but um, what I've seen in previous elections is the people who are the front runners to begin with very often don't make it to the end of the primaries. Um, yeah, Howard Dean, to me, is the biggest example of that. Just yeah, and then all of a sudden he's not leading anymore, and so um, yeah, to me it seems like there's always like a bait and switch where parties have one candidate that's leading for a little while, and that candidate gets all the hate from the opposite party, and then that paves the way for another candidate to win it all. Kind of like how you would slingshot the lunar landing module around the moon. Just that slingshot maneuver. It's like you send one candidate out there to catch all the heat from the political opponents, and then you let that person regress back into uh, the depths of the 1%, and then some other candidate pops out and comes out unscathed because of using that first candidate as the shield from all that uh, hatred from the other party. Um, Sammy says the mean Dean scream sunk him. Yeah. Jamie Demeter keeps on saying Islam in my uh, comments. I mean, this has been over a bunch of videos that I haven't addressed it, but I will right now because I have the time. Um, I'm not a fan of Islam, and I think that's what Jamie wants me to say. It's weird. He's been saying Islam is peace. Islam is serenity. There was a whole uh, spew about it, and he put it on multiple videos. And sometimes I think you guys just want me to say something so that somebody else can clip out part of the video and pwn the fuck out of me for maybe because I said that I'm an SJW, you guys figure that I must like Muslims more than Christians or something. Um, Even though I am an atheist, and you guys can call me an atheist if you want. Um, you know, Rob Jones says, "Do you remember that Muslim guy Thunderfoot had some beef with years ago?" Yeah, yeah, I remember that. Um, and Dawa Films was his name. Jamie Demeter just spelled it for you. Alan wants to know if I saw Trump's makeup line. Uh, no, but last time I did a portrait of Trump with my painting, um, I actually didn't paint him Cheeto orange. Now I'm using peached. Uh, let's see. Yeah, Rob, the good old days of YouTube, when we had people flagging each other with all sorts of DMCA's and whatnot, and yeah, we still have that. But what we have now is a lack of community that cares, and so you don't hear about it as much. You know, there's no there's no giant group of people that will all mirror a video that gets flagged down. You know, and so what we're left with for awareness is the big YouTubers when it happens to them. But really, there used to be a huge community that would mirror everyone's video if it went down. I was a beneficiary of this myself when um, Pure Paranormal decided to flag down one of my videos. Uh, and I think over 70 people mirrored my video. 70, back in the day. Nowadays, I might be able to get a handful of people to do it, but I would be contacting them individually myself, not just putting up a video saying, "Hey, go grab my video and uh, you know, re-upload it if you want." No, that doesn't work anymore. We don't have that kind of community anymore. People don't care that way anymore. It got old. Alan, yes, they're trying to get Nancy Pelosi for ripping up the paper, but if you look at one of my previous videos, like the only actual video that wasn't a live stream this month that I've uploaded in February, it was actually me debunking how, uh, a guy who got like 300,000 views on TikTok was saying, "Oh, Nancy Pelosi broke the law because she ripped up Trump's speech, and now she's subject to this much of a fine and 3 years imprisonment and whatnot." And I was like, no, that's if the record was meant for the National Archive. That was actually her copy that she ripped up. Um, the vice president on the other side of Trump's head had his own copy too. So since it was hers, she was free to do with it whatever she wanted. Now, um, I will say that it was kind of cringy and funny at the same time. That like this is the level of juvenile antics that we've gotten to. But I think it was pretty cool that she used her position behind Trump, to get on camera doing it. And next, I expect her to be putting bunny ears on Trump's head, for the next State of the Union. So, um, yeah, Rob, the video responses feature here on YouTube, um, it turned into something where the last two responses from on a video would be the only ones that were featured underneath the video. And so people were, instead of responding with videos that actually had anything to do with the video they were responding to, they were responding to videos that were popular with anything just to be able to get into that last slot, just to get promoted. So the response feature was largely only used by the great debate community for what it was actually intended to do. And so everybody else was just using it for self promotion, and so they got rid of it. And there was this weird thing about it where you could uh, knock people out of being featured, but if you had already used a particular video from your channel and set it as a response and somebody had pushed you out, you had to select a different video of yours to start pushing people out. Because if you tried to reset your original video that you had responded with to a video as the response again, it would go back into where it was in the order. And so it would still be buried. So you had to, if you wanted to stay on top of things, you had to uh, basically uh, rotate your videos like tires on a car to the popular videos of the day. And I found that when I tried doing it, I didn't get that much of a boost from it, but I did find who else was doing it that day, and no hard feelings because a lot of people tried it, but it was actually Gluteus Illuminatus and I were like vying for control over a couple of popular videos in the same day. And I was like, whoa, you had the same idea as me, you know? Um, I quit doing that. I quit spamming Facebook groups because it would kill Facebook groups, because people would just set the entire group to no notifications. So I don't know why Paul's saying it's Picard time. Is this the premiere of the Picard show? I don't know. Jamie Demeter wants to know why Nancy Pelosi didn't run for president to beat Trump. Well, you know how when people said that Hillary was polarizing, maybe Nancy Pelosi just sees it. Paul says, "Oh, it's the third show." Well, Paul, you have to pick your priorities, right? And you can pause my video and come back to it, but if it's on network television, you want to catch Picard. I understand. I hope that Picard isn't gay in the show. I mean, he was like a symbol of virility when it was the Next Generation, right? Um, that sexy bald head of his. No jokes about looking like fat Will Riker, by the way. Um, what else? So Trump fired Lieutenant Colonel Vindman, and this was brought up during the debate, but that wasn't the only person that he fired. Um, Basically, you can't uh, be a whistleblower and come out and testify without Trump uh, firing you, right? And it's like a revenge firing, right? And we're supposed to have laws against whistleblowing, right? But Sondland and Lieutenant Colonel Vindman were both fired in what they're calling a Friday Night Massacre, which is a reference to a different firing that also happened on a Friday night. But um, they do this kind of thing on a Friday night so that the news cycle of Friday night buries everything, you know? So I thought that was interesting. You know, we now live in a country where whistleblowers will get fired, and uh, what's the recourse? You guys are still on about Picard? What the heck? Hi, Lorna Crosby, new to my channel. Um, this is it. I ramble on for 30 minutes at a time. And lately, I've been doing a lot of live streams this month. It started with the first couple days, and all but one day this month has been a live stream. It's only been one actually produced video this month, and I'm like, you know, maybe I will go out and produce a couple more videos. Um, but I was thinking maybe I could just close out this entire month by doing a live stream every day and actually responding to people. Um, Jamie Demeter says, haven't heard from Nick in a long time. What has he been up to? Uh, I could tell you, but you're not going to believe me, right? But I will tell you anyway. I'm not going to hold it in. working. See, I told you, you don't believe me. Um, Jamie says, I once mailed Nick a copy of Dianetics. Don't know if he ever got it. Uh, I don't know that he needed you to mail it to him because he has quite the extensive occult collection, but I'll ask him. Uh, Rob says live streaming changed YouTube as well. Yeah, and because of things like internet blood sports and the Kumite, and even I'll take some blame here for precursors to that, like the Hate Club. Um, we don't have Hangouts where the technology is being provided by Google for people to be able to come in and do these uh, drama fests anymore. So we used to be able to, broadcast Hangouts very easily, just like with a couple clicks. Now you have to set up OBS or some other sort of streaming program that's a third-party product in order to get the uh, the same ability to uh, piss in YouTube's pool, and that's really what it was. I mean, if you look at the strife that it was causing when people were basically cyberbullying each other, that's why um, Google took the steps to remove our features. It's how much good do you get for the bad? And so, yes, I was on Stickam a couple times, but uh, I didn't like that format. I was more of a blog TV guy, and then Justin TV, and a bunch of other things. But um, a couple of people got me on Stickam. Uh, Sammy wants to say that super chats changed YouTube. Not for me, but absolutely the fact that people can monetize cyberbullying, you know, and I know that I'm the one who says that I'm the world's worst SJW, but I'm just calling it like I see it. Cyberbullying, and people, uh, not just with super chats, just with the monetization of ad revenue, cyberbullying got pretty uh, popular because it attracts eyes, right? But then super chats made it a little bit easier to get paid out for it, and then Patreon made it so that it's impossible to uh, separate somebody from their funds by just flagging the videos that are doing the cyberbullying, because they're being paid independently of each video that they make. It's not even the payout doesn't go through the same platform. So yeah, that changed things too, and people desiring to be that person who can retire from their normal job and be an internet personality as their source of income. That dream is something that I have addressed many times here on my channel. There's one person in particular, Preston Hudman, who I made an entire series of. It's called Internet Fame Crazy. There's a playlist on my channel, and yeah, I think it's up to 10 videos, and I could have made an 11th video like just last week, right? But I was like, maybe let that sleeping dog lie. You know, we've had our fun, and basically, he was bragging again on my channel that he had millions of followers on Instagram. And if you go look at his Instagram videos, There's like 38 videos on his Instagram account, and each one you look at the comments, and it's a whole bunch of crying smiley faces and a whole bunch of clown faces. It's like you have 20 comments on this video, the views are sky high, and you just know that because of the rate of interaction, it's all fake, it's all bot, you know. And yeah, I feel sad for him. It's pathetic that people will fake being larger than they are. You know, for what? You know, this uh, this platform was actually meant to be a social media platform, and instead it's become something where people get sucked into this dream of being internet stars. It was supposed to connect us, not make us feel like we could finally be removed from reality. Jamie wants to know whatever happened to Laughing Witch and her husband, their business, and Thunderfoot. Okay, so one of the things that I noticed about Laughing Witch's business later on is that while all of the fake 1-star reviews were removed by Yelp, um, they were somehow allowed to buy hundreds of positive reviews on multiple different platforms, and those get to stay. So now they have a business where instead of a whole bunch of fake negative reviews, they have a whole bunch of fake positive reviews, and so people are being tricked into using their business, I guess, as a result of all that fallout. And that's been going on for years now. If you read all of the reviews, you could tell that they were basically put into a word scrambler. It's the same review, just said different ways, and I really don't care to bust them for it. I mean, I understand they went through an ordeal, but I just think it's a little bit hypocritical that, oh no, if the reviews are fake and in the negative way, we can have the company remove them. But in order to make sure that a wave of negative reviews can't affect us again, we get to put a good cushion of positive reviews that make us look better than any competitor in their stead. And I'm like, how does that make sense? That now they just get to profit off of the fact that they have fake views rather than get hurt by it. But guess what? It hurts their competitors, because it's not a fair marketplace. Um, Not to say that their competitors might not have fake views or fake reviews, because most every place I have seen uh, now has fake reviews. It's a thing. So Amendum, or who is it that said that? Jamie Demeter says he remembers when somebody went to Amendum's house and filmed it. Um, I guess the most recent thing that I've done was I went to the Shanny for Christ trial and met Rev News and Shanny, and found out that it actually was just a really petty thing that was going on, and it wasn't really something that should be sensationalized on the internet. But I imagine that. Oh, Jamie says you didn't go to Onision's trial. I live in Denver. I know I might look a little bit like Robert Wallace, but if you guys want somebody to go to Onision's trial that's in that area, you're going to have to send somebody from actual Washington State. You know, Kazoom might be able to go, Robert Wallace might be able to go, but I live in Denver. Sorry. Um, I covered that Russian Deadpool trial pretty well for you guys. No, Jamie, Colorado is not near Washington. It is not even close. Learn to map. And it looks like 35 minutes have gone down. That's pretty much all I got tonight. I'll be back again tomorrow night with more opinions about things, but the TDS will continue. And for those of you guys who don't know what it is, it's Trump derangement syndrome. A while back, I made a video saying that I was all trumped out, and that was before the uh, the popularization of TDS. But now I will just freely frickin' admit it that that guy's Twitter feed gets on my nerves every day. Every day. Can't get away from it. All right, guys. Talk to you later.